Wow, I swear, if I'm not in my actual like zone, if I'm not in my actual routine, I get all flustered and mess up. Here's the thing, I'm streaming as well on Clubhouse, as well as attending to you guys as we do every Monday evening. Thank you for bearing with me through the technical hiccups. I see my people in here finally. What's up, Taryn? Thank you so much for letting me know my mic wasn't working. What's up, Elle, a Patreon? What's up, Lakeisha Okoye? Yes. And Natalie. Thank you guys so much. This is a dissection of Disney Pixar's Soul this evening. Low key, we have such a big discussion tonight. We may go over the hour. I know a lot of y'all don't mind, but I'll be trying to keep it cute for YouTube and people who want to discover this channel and this experience. Anyone who's on Clubhouse right now listening in, I encourage you to join over on YouTube right now. You will have the live chat and you will have some visuals to accompany you. That'll make this experience flow so much more easily. If you're not doing so by now, please follow me on social media. I am JustLatasha on Instagram, JustLatasha404 on Twitter. And this is what I does. I analyze film, I dissect it, we look at visuals, we look at the story, we expand the theme, and we have a good ass time over here on YouTube, as always. So that's what's going to happen, and that's what we're going to do, okay? All right, you guys can hear me. Shall we just dive right in and get started? So many people were saying they're excited about talking about this film, so I hope people do come in and join us as well. Let's see. I feel so weird today, y'all. I think because I was on a break so hard that getting back into this feels like it just feels like a lot. Let me remind Twitter to come on in. You got to let people know where you at. You know what I'm saying? So let's dive right in. Welcome. Hello, hello, hello. All right. Soul. Synopsis. What is it that makes you you? Jamie Foxx plays Joe Gardner, a middle school teacher who gets a chance of a lifetime to play a jazz club downtown before he plummets to his death in NYC. Determined to return to his life, he meets 22, an unmotivated soul voiced by Tina Fey, who screws up his plans to return to his life by having him fall back into the wrong body. Real quick, I just want to touch on this because I started to see some comparisons to Get Out, and I started to see some opinions that it's a white woman taking over a black man's body and Can we hold on for just a second? And I never want to go against the grain of my people, and I really wanted to take it in and see how y'all felt and empathize. But to keep it cute and short, I'm not getting on this train. Okay? I'm not getting on this train with y'all. I'm sorry. Here's the difference. Get Out is intentionally about white people infiltrating the bodies of Black people to excavate Black culture and what they deem as Black privilege, which we know doesn't exist. It's still all based on white supremacist racism. Soul, a man fell into a cat on accident. Like, what are we doing? Okay. And then another thing, these baby souls, these souls who have not yet entered Earth, yes, they take on the physicalities of the bodies they inhabit, but to be a pre-soul is to be without race. We learn race once we get down here. And depending on where you are in the world, on Earth, racism don't hit the same anywhere you go. White supremacy is absolutely everywhere, but specifically in America for Black Americans, it's a whole different degree. You know what I'm saying? So I don't believe Soul is on the wavelength of Get Out and it's a white woman taking over a Black, because technically the soul ain't white yet. It is voiced by a white actor, but that's not really a part of the story. That's what's happening in literal production. So I'm not getting on that train with y'all. I'm sorry. But now that we've cleared that up and got that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and dissect Soul on Disney Pixar. Shout out to everybody in my YouTube room. Okay, let's start with the opening shot. Here we have Joe Gardner in front of his school classroom, his chalkboard. And if you guys notice right behind him, the title of the song this terrible class is practicing, Things Ain't What They Used to Be. And of course, going right ahead and playing off key, right? That band sounds terrible. The music is wrong. The notes on the board ain't even finished. Okay. And he's trying with these kids, and everything is off key. Everything is misaligned. It don't match up. All right. So let's meet Connie. Connie is a lovely student in Joe's class. And when she has her solo on this horn of sorts, she taps into something. She taps into a passion that really intrigues Joe, right? And we can see the class and we could see how they're unmotivated and how muted these colors are. What Connie is showing to Joe is possibly the very thing that has left his life and his career for a while now, right? Things ain't what they used to be. And Joe says that as a child, he watched a musician get lost in the music when he played. We're going to come back to that idea. We'll be back to that. But that moment when he watched that musician was where he was born to play, right? That passion that lit a fire in who he was. And Connie's showing it to him. Let me see what y'all are already saying in the chat. Simone says 22 has no race, no gender, just spirit. Elle says, I saw some valid critiques about how they could have had a Black kid voice 22. Yep. 50 is showing love. Thank you, 50. Jonas says, sometimes I think we could be a little too critical when it comes to our movies. Not saying we just have to take anything, but we will reach to create issues. I don't want to say that either, but I am just going to say I don't disagree with the racism takes on this film. I'm just going to stop it right there. I'm going to stop right there, else we're going to be here all night, and we have an hour, which we'll probably go over, but let's see. So someone comes to pay, sorry about that, Clubhouse. Someone comes to pay Joe a visit and the principal shows up, right? And in this bland, gray, lifeless classroom, the principal is standing on the other side of the door, which has these huge red alarms, this hazard, this cautious. Principal Arroyo offers Joe a full-time job. So let's think about it as us, as actual human beings, right? We were sold the idea of go to school, get a job, work hard, you'll be okay. We were sold this idea that you won at life, you are successful if you can lock down a 9-to-5, get a career, and help yourself to financial safety with the dream of financial freedom. But really, the winning is in having financial safety. So if you're a creative out there, I don't know who in here is a creative, but for me, like offering me a full-time job is really a scary ass offer. Hazard, red, alert, stop. But this is something that the world is telling me that I should want. So when I'm offered as a creative, knowing what my dreams are, knowing what it is I'm truly working for, when I'm offered a full-time position, what you're telling me is to give up on my dreams. What you're telling me is to exchange passions for security, financial security, right? And I don't like that. I don't like that. And I've had jobs that were like, here's a promotion, you can get out of your position, you could grow in the company. I was like, do I want to grow in the company? I really don't. Growing in the company would be the bane of my existence. I don't want it. I don't want to do it. So Joe is not on it. He's not riding this wave. He's not in the train. He hates it. Reset in the room for Clubhouse. If you are listening to me on Clubhouse, I implore you to join me on YouTube because you will have visuals and access to a live chat because I would love to hear from you guys as well. So let's go ahead and meet Mama. A woman of her own business, running her own tailor shop. Okay. And the first thing I notice is that she is wearing red. She looks beautiful. She looks gorgeous, Mama. But she's wearing red. Why? Because just like this offer that the principal has given Joe, this is a wound. This is a fear. You're leaning into a trigger point for me that I do not like. Mama is encouraging Joe to match the world instead of following what his heart is calling for. And it's so funny because the visuals of this ask is painful. She's literally hurting someone while she's asking Joe to give up on his passions and dreams. Go ahead and get them benefits. Go ahead and get that job, get a career, lock it down. You are whatever age still chasing this music dream. She's asking him to betray his calling. That fucking hurts. I remember the time, y'all, I was taking so long to get on with this dream, and I still am very far. But my dad was like, "Hey, you thought about like going back to school? You thought about like?" I was like, "Oh shit! Oh no! Oh no!" I was like, "Let me get my shit together, Lord, because Daddy's over it. He is over it." Okay. So I'm diving into the chat right about here. Curly is a past student of Joe, used to be in his music class, and he offers Joe an opportunity. You get to be in the band for Dorothea Williams. And Joe says, I would die a happy man if I could play with her. I would die happy. So I'm jumping into the chat right about here. There's a sign right behind him as he's leaving this train station that reads, your new phone is calling. Answer it now. Whoever you pray to, your God, your universe, your ancestors, your angels. Some of them are still curly-haired, rosy-cheeked white folks, but that's on you. That's not me. Why would this sign that says, follow your heart, answer the calling, why would that be in red? Why would that give us caution? Lakeisha, thank you so much for the super chat. I really, really, really appreciate it. Let's see what y'all saying in the chat while y'all answer that question. Why would this sign that's telling Joe Gardner to go ahead and answer your calling, why would that be in red? What do we think? Let me see what y'all said. Meek is Wisdom says, we can't commit to things outside of our dreams. If it's going to take my time and focus off of what I love, nope. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. What's up, CJ? Welcome to the room. Hi, A-Bar T. Hey, Fila, who says, I work a 9 to 5, but I'm literally building my businesses so I can get out of this job. Say that. Talk it. Yes. Say that. CJ says the sign is red. The sign that tells him to answer the calling of his dreams is red because of synchronicities. Meek says it's red because it's a new calling on his life and he has to make a choice. TJ says it's a risk. Elle says there's danger in the calling. And Natalie says it's not what it seems. I'm gonna take a stab at it. And I want y'all to know, if some people are new here to these dissections, please understand this. I am not the voice of God. I am not the end all be all. What we like to do in these dissections is have fun, think, hypothesize, throw some theories out there. We just like to think out loud and amongst each other. So I accept all of your answers. I offer mine, but in no way, absolutely, I'm gonna tell y'all are wrong, I'm right. No. But here's just what I pulled from it. 50 Yacht said, this is urgency. Yo, 50, I like that. I like that. I like that. I like that. Here's my thing. It's the way he don't feel good about what he loves for me. It's the way that if you're doing something that you love and the light has dimmed just a little bit, the colors have gone a little bland, the colors have gone a little muted, your passion ain't hitting right? That red to me feels like his passion is based on circumstance. If I could do this thing, but in this way, then it's valid, then it's real. Like my mom hates that I'm just this teacher, but I'm still doing the thing I love while being a teacher. And it feels so terrible for him. And I just feel like his passion at this moment in his perspective is all based on circumstance. He doesn't like how he's doing it. He don't like where he's doing it at. Can you call upon that passion and make it valid anywhere you are? I be doing a lot in these dissections. I really do. Like I give you that. I be doing a lot. But look, we here to think. We here to think and pull it out the story. Okay. That's just what I got from it. Because I know as a creative, doing what you love don't feel good all the goddamn time. I have to call it like I see it. It does not feel good all the time. Let's look more into that. Let's get into Half Note Club, which is a fictionalized version of the Blue Note Club in what was it? The Village, New York City? I don't know. God, it was by Negril, which I had a bad experience there. I never went back. That's neither here nor there. We don't got to worry about that. Let's move on. We're at here, the Half Note Club, where we meet Joe's jazz idol, Dorothea Williams. And I thought it was so uncanny how he meets his idol and they are drenched in red. That doesn't look safe. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel warm. She don't feel warm. We could look at the power angles here. She's elevated on stage. She won't even look at him. She's usually shot in the dominant power, looking up towards her role. He is seemed to be small and fragile, and we look, the camera is angled down on him, right? Playing with these power roles. Oh, I like this here. Phila says, I think it can also refer to how society views creatives. Art is viewed as a risk and not stable. Yes. Yes. L, come on, L, yes. It's not the passion calling, it's the image he created of it. Which is why I ask, why are both his dreams and his career the same color? L, you just answered it. It's not the passion calling, it's the image he created of it. If I can do the thing that I want, but it has to exist in this specific way that I imagine, that I totally made up, then whenever you're not there, that shit is going to hurt. Whenever you're not doing it in that specific way, your passion is going to kill you. Where can you let it love you? Where can you let it feed you and fulfill you? Come on, L! Who do you think you are? I am. God damn. God damn, that was good. Exactly. I was going to ask y'all that, but L jump right in. Dorothea leans into him. So we down to middle school band teachers now. Girl, fuck you. Who? Again, where you are does not determine your value or your skill set. Hella people looked at me and said, she got little followers. She got a small ass clubhouse room. She ain't popping. She ain't on these platforms. And then when I bust my talent out, face crack, jaws drop. I've been the one in the two. You just waiting for followers and all these values and circumstances that y'all deem valuable on me. Ain't got shit to do with me. We've been here. Happens every time, and I love it every time. When I show up in this space and show my talent, they're like, where have you been? I've been right here. But you too busy talking about them followers little, that room small. Kadia, he measures his worth on the optics of his dream. Y'all on tonight. Y'all on tonight. Y'all are on tonight. Let us do it. Let's do it. We're going to move on. So Joe playing, showing his talent, showing off, right? Drifts away like the man that made him fall in love with jazz when he was a child. We see that room go from red to blue. He floats off the stage, the way that man floated off the stage and showed Joe, this is how you talk with jazz. Listen to what I'm saying, right? And we noticed that when he gets into that mood, when he gets into that moment of going off, he's surrounded by blue. And when Connie was going off, you see her, she was drenched where in blue? That soul was speaking, right? Joe said when he gets into this place, he zones out. He zones out. We'll be back because the movie definitely expands on that zoning out vibe. We'll be back. Let's go over here with it. Joe falls to his death and travels from the great beyond. He said he wasn't ready to go to the light. He wasn't ready. So he escapes, he evades, and he heads to the great before. Baby, the way I would have turned it to light, I'm not. Don't threaten me with a good time. I could become light. Music, saxophone. Saxophone. But that's why he the only one. He was special. That's why he the only one that got off that line, because everybody else stayed on the conveyor belt. They was like, well, fuck it. Fuck it. We turned it to light. Now we're in the great before, where new souls are made until they are granted new bodies down on earth. And this is where the new souls get their personality traits before they encompass new bodies. So here's the thing. When you have a feature film, you have 3 acts. We are in act 1 after all of this information. We are still in act 1, where you have to set up the entire world, all of the rules, all of the characters, all of the desires, and give it one big problem to solve. So after all this, and even though we went to a new place, we're still in act 1, right? Because we're not done setting up the entire world. Since this stars a duo, 22 and Joe, well, we only met Joe. So now we got to go ahead and meet 22, understand who she is, what she wants, what she's scared of, and give her a problem as well. Then we'll get out of act 1. And I'm going to tell y'all, watching this movie, this was a lot of setup. It was so much information. It was dense. I was like, is we gonna go ahead into the movie? And after we got out of act 1, the movie sort of kind of sped up. It went real fast. Right? But they took their time here because these rules and this understanding is so intricate, and you got to spend so much time with it. And so by the time he gets to the great before, we only 11 minutes in. I was like, oh God, what's up? Back to Natural. Thank you for coming on over from Clubhouse. Yes, again, if you're listening on Clubhouse, I encourage you to join me on YouTube, where you guys get to join the live chat and see the visuals. I got a huge chat here on YouTube. Shout out to everybody here in the chat and viewing and watching from home. Love you. All right, let's move on. So what I thought was really cool, there was a quick moment when Joe was leaving the half note, and he passes a man with a baby carriage. The carriage was blue because the baby just got a new soul. So it matches the blue souls from the before, the great before. I really, really, really thought that was beautiful and cute. So here we go. Joe missed something that a lot of us miss. And we already said it because y'all are brilliant and smart. We already said it. Upon coming to the great before, Joe is to be a mentor. He is supposed to teach one of the new souls how to get their spark, and then they get an earth pass, so then they can go to earth and get a new body. His instruction as a mentor was to encourage new souls to find that spark. It's the last little piece they need before they get their earth patch. This is so cute. So in a vision, when he's learning how to be a mentor, he envisions this. He's teaching jazz to a new soul, but he's going to use their spark to selfishly gain glory. He don't care about his passion. He don't care about his spark. He don't care about his soul. He wants visibility and adoration. Superficial, okay? This is exactly why the half note was read. It's even read in the dream that he imagines for himself. This is not a desire based on his soul's calling, right? It has to match. It has to align, and he is severely misaligned. Look at this thing in his vision. His name is on the marquee above and larger than Dorothea Williams. Joe Gardner and the Dorothea Williams Quartet. Excuse me, Levy. It's giving Levy. Like, what are we doing? This is what he wants to work for the glory and the fame and the riches. Let me tell you something right now. You better pick your why, and you better be smart about it. You better be wise about it, okay? I see all of your comments in the chat. I am not ignoring you. We just have a huge conversation tonight. So I am going to get into the comments. I'm just going to space it out a little differently the way we usually do it. So thank you to all the new people that are here. Buckle in. Let's put our thinking caps on. We're going to do it. During the soul matching ceremony, both Joe and 22 are absent. Joe was wearing a name that ain't his. He's portraying somebody that's not him. And 22 ain't even getting to the stage. Both of them are absent when they are called. Don't miss that. Don't miss it, okay? Joe was there for selfish reasons. 22's not even playing. And look how this aligns. At the soul matching ceremony, Joe is under a spotlight with a blue audience, with a red curtain in the back. It looks just like his dream of winning at half note. The spotlight with the red curtains. Joe is already who he wants to be, but because he's misaligned and he's not stepping into his true identity, he can't be that person yet. He can't be that person yet. He's got to subtract all these superficial narratives. He's got to take all this fluff away. He's got to take away all the superficial desires. And he's got to get back to the value of his soul. Jay Lavon J says, it's very much giving Levy. Manuel Y says, these are parallels. Parallels. Yes. Look at these visuals, right? If you're on YouTube. Joe finally meets 22 and he says something that we shouldn't miss. The tune is the excuse to bring out the you. The tune is the excuse to bring out the you. That passion, that calling, that soul's desire, when something takes you into the zone and you light up on fire, that's that you calling you. That's that you bringing you out in your essence, right? And in all these mundane moments where Joe thinks he has failed at life, this is all I've done. What he's missing is that this was the exact reason he had to use music to connect to his soul. Even though this looks boring, it doesn't look special, it doesn't look meaningful, it doesn't look successful. You've had all these moments where you've tapped in and rolled the wave of your soul, and you missed it. Your mind is clouded with all these superficial values, right? And this is something that a lot of creatives go through as well. Your creative journey will be full of rejection. Even if you're not a creative, you're going to have hella people slamming doors in your face. You're going to be full of rejection. And because of that, Joe shrinks himself after so many failed attempts and began to believe a false narrative about himself. Well, if they keep saying no, then I must not be shit. Now, wait a minute. All these doors keep closing, so I must not deserve it. I must not be good enough. Hold up. Don't get got. Don't get got. Shout out to Juju, my girl Moon. Everybody watch Juju, the web series, who says Joe remained himself the whole movie. It was a flip between him and his soul and him in his physical body. Oh, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that, Moon. We're going to get into that. Here's another visual parallel that I noticed. How before 22 and all of these souls could find their spark, this dimension that they're in is so gray and is bleak because they are without this passion. They are without this spark. They are without this thing that's going to make them deserve to go to earth. And then look at the color of Joe in that classroom. Gray, meek, bland, muted, lifeless, colorless. How can this dimension before you gain your spark and being in this 3D plane of Earth be the same color? How are they the same color scale? Sherry says, I don't think he's giving off Levy. Joe isn't looking for fame. He's doing what he thinks his passion is, which is music. He's missing out of living his life. He took his life for granted while looking for his purpose. Girl, if somebody replaced the marquee on my show and step into my spotlights, we're going to have a talking to, because you want something that you could be fine playing the music in the back. Go ahead in the back and play me, because that's where you belong. You don't put your name over my name. And he definitely wants that glory. He definitely wants that fame. The way he stood up into that spotlight and wants that applause. I'm going to have to disagree with you, Sherry, but I encourage different opinions and different frames of mind, because we all going to sit here and talk through it together. I encourage that. Thank you, Sherry. I just disagree. Gonna move on. Let's look at the zone, the place where the spiritual and the physical meet, again, leaning into that blue. We saw Connie ride that wave in class, get in the zone. We saw Joe get in the zone during his performance, and the whole world goes blue. I really like this character of Moonwind. I really like this character of Moonwind. He is dressed in blue, you know, that in the zone blue, because everywhere he goes, he can access his soul. He takes it with him. It don't matter that he's spinning a sign on 14th and 7th. It don't matter. He can access this anywhere with that pure, unfiltered joy. Moonwind is the guy. This part shook and dragged me. And I saw Crystal tweet about it too. Let's talk about lost souls. This lost man at the hedge fund firm who flips computers and beats it up out of the office. When y'all have that moment, when I have had this moment, what am I doing with my life? Oh my God. What am I doing with my life? I remember the exact moment I have asked that, and I've asked myself that 3 times. I know exactly where I was when I've posed that question to myself, and something clicks and it's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. What am I doing? And you feel lost and you feel scared and you feel misguided. I felt lost. I felt scared. I felt misguided. Let me turn it on me. Let me say it with my chest. I felt so lost in so many times. Moonwind tells us that the soul gets lost when we become too obsessive with earthly desires, right? This man has totally ignored his calling, his soul, his passion, because this is where the money's at in this hedge fund firm. He's stressed. He ain't sleeping. Stocks are up, stocks are down. He's sleeping at this desk, miserable. And so many people are willing to be miserable because they were told, get that money, get that bag. That's all that matters in life. And he has lost his soul, which Moonwind tells us is similar to getting in the zone. You also become disconnected from life when you dive too much into the pleasure, too much into that calling. My example of that is Michael Jackson. I was like, who do we know that has done that? Who has lost complete attachment to life because they dove too much into their passion and their soul's calling? That to me is Michael Jackson. Strange person, because music was it and everything. And if nothing aligned with music, it didn't fit in his reality at all. Amongst other traumas, amongst other things. But I'm going to leave it there. Thank you, Justin Carter, for the super chat, who says, I know a good amount of musicians, and this is a negative, but are a bit... Ooh, I'm missing it. But are a bit self-absorbed. It's part of what makes them able to be great and shine. So narcissism and selfishness helps them. I think it's kind of like that Kanye West boost of confidence, so you can appear to be the man in front of a large audience and not look weak or vulnerable or scared. Kanye West looks so fearful to me. He looks full of fear to me. Mika's Wisdom says, I stand Moonwind. He wasn't rich on earth, but rich in spirit. Natalie says, I felt like this was a movie for adults, even though it was supposed to be a kid's movie. All these themes, how do kids know what the hell a hedge fund manager go through? I mean, you could say it, but I asked that question on Twitter too. I was like, did kids understand what this movie was about? And I honestly, some of y'all kids at home are geniuses and they totally loved this and kept replaying it. And some of y'all kids was like, I'm out of here. 10 minutes and they was like, what else do we have? It was honestly split down the middle. Kids, we couldn't call it. Not Moonwind needs a TED Talk. All right, y'all. What's up, Peppermint Patty, who says it was a good movie, but would not recommend this to kids. It was too mature for them to understand. I guess you're just going to have to test drive the whip, because it ain't no telling until you put them in there. And now that we have understood all of the rules of this world, who our characters are, and what our major problem is to fix, we can finally 35 minutes in, dive into Act 2, A New World, where your main characters are going to go on a journey to solve that big problem. And the thing is, Act 2 in feature films are usually divided in two parts. Act 2, Part 1, we go up the tree where all of your skill sets, your current knowledge, your current mindset kind of works in your favor. It's not that bad going into this new world as who you are, right? So Joe and 22 cross into this new world together. Moonwind opens up a portal and they dive onto Joe's body as he lays nearly dead in a hospital. Joe, a middle-aged teacher who hasn't turned his passion into a career, and the light is fading. And 22, a soul who wants to stay in the great before because Earth ain't hitting like that. I don't know what y'all going off about. Earth is not giving. 22, you're not wrong. The lesson for you was you just needed to try it, okay? But you ain't wrong. Act 2, we have a big mistake. 22 lands in Joe's body, and Joe is a goddamn cat, all right? This is a new experience for both, and this is represented by the color green, which usually represents newness, new journeys, growth, right? And we see the hospital is drenched in green. His hospital bed got green all over it. That's exactly what's happening. A lot of y'all look like this. For those listening on Clubhouse, we have an image of Joe hiding in a cement corner as soon as he's overloaded by the city of New York. 22 has never experienced this. 22 has never had a body, and this is too much. 22 in Joe's body hides in a cement corner. And this corner is looking a lot like this classroom, and here's why. Here is why. Sometimes we get so scared to expand and go beyond what we know that we imprison ourselves. And doing your everyday toilings, doing your everyday busyness could look like you're doing something, could feel like you're doing something, but you're going nowhere and you know that. But you're too scared to try and do more. The spot that 22 is hiding in and Joe's everyday life are the same color. So we keep ourselves in prison due to the fear of breaking our own imposed boundaries. But then when we don't get what we want, we just get mad. I'm dragging myself, by the way. This is totally dragging myself. Okay. If you are listening on Clubhouse, thank you and welcome. I am streaming live on YouTube. If you would like to join me on YouTube, JustLatasha channel, you would have access to visuals and a live chat. But thank you so much for being here as well. Color of Brass says, this is out for the whole music and celeb Black industry, acting like big kids while selling their God-blessed talent and souls. Color of Brass is ready to drag y'all, and and it's happening. Elle says it's giving prison, and it sure is. Sherry says, when I saw this movie, it made me think about a song that Sam Cooke used to sing, That's Heaven to Me. Oh, I'm gonna play that when we done. Heaven to Me. I like that. Okay, so Dorothea catches Joe looking crazy in that hospital gown out in the street. And when 22 in Joe's body finally gets home, he misses a call from Curly, who offered him this big dream gig. So I'm jumping into the chat because I want to see what y'all think. We definitely going over an hour night. My God. I'm jumping into the chat right here. Dorothea sees Joe in a hospital gown. Curly leaves a voicemail notifying him that she replaced his spot in his big dream gig tonight. Curly also tells Joe that joining his class and being a student to his music was a game changer, was a life changer. So I want y'all to look at the visuals. We have Dorothea in red. We have Curly in this phone with the blue accents, red versus blue. What makes his dream in red and the voicemail in blue? And I believe you already know the answer by now. What makes this dream once again in red, but this voicemail in blue? L, why are you playing with me? Why are you playing with me? L says also the parallel of moving to New York City, discovering them rent prices and the cost of living. Jail. Why you gotta do this? Shannon Dova, long time no see. Don't know if it's been said, but in numerology, 22 is associated with finding balance in the material realm and world. Ooh, connecting one's foundation and purpose in life. Well, with that kind of definition, I'm sure it wasn't wasn't a mistake that 22 is named 22. Sherry says the mythologist Joseph Campbell once said, "Heaven is here on earth, we just don't see it." Whew. All right, so back to the question. It's red versus blue. Why is Curly the voicemail in blue and Dorothea the dream in red? And Meek is wisdom says Curly is keeping him in the realm of his gift, reminding him who he is. Ding, 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 ding. Nail on the head. Curly reminds him of his purpose. Your gift is not tied to capitalism, fame, and riches. It'd be nice. For most people, it's nice. For other people, they have a terrible time in Hollywood. It's been ample examples of that. But more so than that, intention, purpose. If your dream is only serving you, your dream ain't big enough. It ain't purposeful enough. It's not intentional enough. It's selfish. Sorry, I have to say it the way I feel it. If your dream is only serving yourself and touches nobody else, it's an L. It's an L for me. How you operate from that space, from that selfishness, for that spotlight, it just serves you? No. But Curly lets Joe know that you still have a chance to get this gig back. Clean yourself up, get your stuff together, and meet me down here for sound check at 7 o'clock. Stop playing. All right. Connie comes by. She's on time for her music class because she is a good girl. And we see our colors come back, red and blue. Connie is wearing a red backpack all over her blue outfit. And from what I pulled from this, you guys let me know your own theories as well. Her soul has found a wound. She quits jazz. She hates school. This is terrible. I'm going to put this stuff down. I quit. I'm done. But something called her. That soul done called her and tapped on that little shoulder and said, at. She said, hold on, just 1 second. I'm going to try one more time. Give me 1 second. See if you like this part. And she tries again, and she rises as she loses herself in the music and gets in the zone. Right? We have that floating visual whenever these characters get into the zone with this music. They kind of float and rise and elevate when they get into that space. Even in the zone where 22 is bothering everybody, all these souls in their zone while they're doing something incredible on earth, floating into the sky. And 22 chucks a dead Nokia phone at your head. Like, what is your deal, baby? What is the problem? And Connie's calling encourages her to try again. Putting her wound down, that backpack, slide it to the side, that red backpack, she slides to the side, and she leans into this horn, enters that zone. Now, notice here, this angle, this is not a mistake. This is very intentional. We call this the God angle, this aerial view over your characters, right? This is supposed to feel like somebody's watching. This is supposed to feel like someone's overhead. This is supposed to feel like you're not alone. Intentionally the same angle as when the souls are jumping and peering down onto earth, choosing or being chosen for bodies. The same angle. It's your soul speaking to you, your soul trying to come back down and meet you to jump into your zone with you, right? Connie is where the physical meets the spiritual. She found it. She's in that medium where Moonwind lives. Justin Carter, thank you so much for the super chat, who says, it was quick, but that scene of Joe playing piano with his dad when he was old spoke to my heart, and it showed the love they shared and how his dad's passing his passion to his son was a true gift that he passes on. Yes. And we're definitely going to get to that today. We are definitely going to get to that today for sure. For sure. Yes. We are here at the midpoint in our film where our characters' original plans are thwarted, threatened, pressures rise, right? We're threatening their goals and their plans. Their normal skill sets, their normal mindsets will be challenged because you have to change to meet your lesson, to beat and achieve your goal. And what is the midpoint of this film? Terry is annoying. Doing all that damn counting, and now he's tracked down where the missing soul was, and he finds that it's Joe Gardner, who's back on Earth illegally. You goddamn hater, Terry. Come on, man. We just trying to, I just want to live. What's that little black boy who sing, be crying and singing? His soul need to find him. He got no light in his eyes. A little black boy who be singing, I'm just a scrawny black man. I shouldn't be laughing at him because his art is his passion and it's valid. Sips water. I just want to live. Okay, I'm not going to sing that little boy's song, but let's get to the barbershop because I need to know where this man is at. Anybody in Clubhouse? I hope y'all seen that fine ass barber who was in this barbershop with the beard and the fade and the tats and the size and the height. We need to know where he cut at. Where did he cut at? I could use a wig trim. He could trim my wig. The fuck? Also, if you're on Clubhouse, I encourage you to join me on YouTube where you guys could join the live chat and see some visuals. But thank you so much for being on Clubhouse. Thank you to everyone who's here joining me live on YouTube. It's a nice size room tonight. I love it. Oh, I'm sorry for singing it, y'all. You're right. I'm sorry for singing it. But here we go. Testing my audience. See if y'all on. Why is the barber who is not working in the fields of which he dreams? He wants to be a vet and he's a barber. Why is the barber in blue? Because if it all depends on the passion, meeting the job and meeting the success, and well, he ain't there. Why would he be in blue? Y'all told me to stop singing. Rude. Katie says, I want to sit in Dez's seat. We want to know the Instagram @ we want to know the Twitter DM. We want to know. I heard his IG was private, y'all. I heard he was in matching pajamas on Christmas. Meek is Wisdom guesses that Dez is wearing blue because of innocence. Oh, and that I like to call it the soul blue, the soul glow blue. He in that soul blue. Meek is Wisdom guesses the innocence. What else we think? What else do we think? Natalie, come on. Yes, he is living out his purpose through being a barber. Elle says all of the people in blue are grounding Joe, reminding him that he's already where he seeks. Whew. Whew. Y'all hit the nail on the head. Even though he's not working the job he wanted, he's still working from that passion. He's still working from that soul. He is representative of still servicing and catering to this community. Me making you look good makes me feel good. You telling me about your life makes me feel great. I know I'm playing a part here. And we have to understand that Black barbers are one of the pinnacles of the Black community. You don't go to therapy, you go get your hair cut. You should go to therapy. You should absolutely go to therapy for sure. But I'm just saying, in the interim that you could not get to therapy, Des is down the block with them clippers. What's good? Okay. This job, though not what he dreamed, allowed him to take care of his daughter and meet the community and provide a service that makes his community feel good. Amira says he's still fulfilled in other aspects of life, not just his career. Lydia says he spoke about his family and providing, and that's why he does what he does. Sherry says an African spiritual practice. Sherry came to teach tonight, and I'm all for it. Let's do it. An African spiritual practice. Humans aren't separate from the sacred. I think that what being in the zone could mean, I noticed my grandmother would be in the zone while washing dishes and humming. He's living life. Send a chill through my spine, why don't you? Send a chill through my spine, why don't you? Well, let's stay on that thread, Sherry, because 22 says something here that got the whole shop face cracked. Like the whole shop is gagged. And 22 says this. Is all this living really worth dying for? Which philosopher is philosophizing in this writer's room? My God. The babies that were supposed to watch this movie don't even know that they're alive yet. And you have these huge existential questions loaded in this movie. Is all this living really worth dying for? Joe said no. He said, I'm not dying yet because I ain't lived the life that I want yet, right? Let me tell y'all a fun fact. Most heart attacks occur at 9 a.m. on Monday morning. True statistic. Most heart attacks occur at 9 a.m. on Monday morning because all this time you are suffocating yourself, not living the life that you want. You might as well clock out early. Timestamp, done, check out. Isn't that crazy? And we got a hater in the shop who's telling Joe, you ain't all that. What, you in a club and that's that? 22 clocks that ass. Oh, he's just criticizing me to cover up the pain of his own failed dreams. Check that. Okay? Check that. And for the first time, again, Act 2, Part 2, where your characters realize the flaw in themselves. They start to challenge their mindsets, their skill set. For the first time, Joe realizes his flaw. He's never even asked the barber about himself. Selfish. You've been operating from a selfish, self-serving place this entire time. He never asked me. That'll get him. That'll get him. That'll do it. Here we're starting to learn some lessons, right? Our characters are slowly beginning to gain a new perspective. 22 discovers there's some fun things to do here on Earth, like playing in the train gunk. Not for me, but for 22, this is lovely, okay? Joe considers others and slows down to appreciate just all the little joys, right? And how far has 22 come in Joe's body from hiding in that corner to dancing above subway grates? But the suit don't fit. The pants rip, and we got to head back down to mama. Now, I had another piece of preach for you, but I'm trying to be wary of time. I had just another a piece of preach for you. So sometimes, like when you're not the person you need to be yet, you get put in situations you're not quite ready for, but you get bumped and bruised and you build the armor and the shield don't fit right, but you learn enough lessons to learn how to maneuver this new space until you fit it, until you outgrow it, and you have to shed that skin and regain a new one that don't fit, and then you got to fight and work and learn and get bumped and bruised up to make this new armor, and you start to fit into it, and it's a cycle of shedding and rebirth and shedding and rebirth. And Joe's suit don't fit. We had to go down and get it fixed. The suit was terrible. The music was terrible in the beginning. The suit don't fit. Still on his way to be the person he's supposed to be. So we've been talking about colors a lot so far. So I'm going to jump into the chat right here. Can y'all dissect this image of mama? Can y'all dissect this image of mama? For those who are listening on Clubhouse, thank you so much for being here. We have mama dressed in red, fixing a green dress and facing a mirror. We're seeing a double image of mama in this dress. So I'm asking the audience here live on YouTube to dissect what they think this means. What does it feel like? What are they pulling from this single shot of this film? Katie said, and he need to call Lisa. Man, what do we think this shot means? We know what the colors mean. We know how she feels about him. My audience who's been here for a long time know what mirrors mean. I would like to see them. Elle says there's a split. Usually when we see mirrors and reflections in film, this means there's a split of identity. We have a shattered identity here. Katia says she's about to change. Great eye, Katia. Great eye. I hope it's not Kadia, or I hope I'm saying it right is what I should have said. I hope I'm not mispronouncing it and I'm saying Katia when it's Kadia. Brooke guesses that green means jealous. Dang. Brooke says judgment. Woof. Well, she's definitely judgment. I would guess she's an earth sign. Katia says her growth is staring her in the face. Shell's boss says she has her back because she has her back to him because she isn't ready for the truth. Elle, I like this, who says mama has the ability to help or hurt Joe, and she's split on deciding. Ooh! Oh, Natalie! When you look at the mirror, it looks like she has on the green dress, meaning she will grow and gain a new POV. I'm gonna stop right there because Natalie, with two incredible points like that tonight, you win tonight's dissection. Natalie, the winner of tonight's dissection. My God. My God, amazing. Amazing. Mama here also has a lesson to learn. Bing, 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 green dress, green dress, green, green, green. She has to grow. There's an identity or a past that informs her current mindset, that split of identity. She's looking at something, right? And she shares this here. In the past, her late husband chased his dreams and she had to support him. And she worries that if Joe doesn't take care of himself now, she won't be able to save him later. Oh, Black women got to be the hero all the goddamn time for every goddamn person, don't we? Don't we? So with this red dress, not only has she been wounding him, but she wears wounds of her own. She wears wounds of her own. Whew. Let's move on. Now, usually in my dissections, we would come up on this hour and we'll be done, but we have more to talk about. Sorry, this movie shouldn't have been so deep. Sorry, we have more to talk about. Let's do it. Dad covered in blue. Look at all of Dad's photos, all of his old items, right? Or these are Mama's items for Dad. These blue photographs with this blue thread to make his blue suit. He fully lived his dream, which cost her and their marriage and their life together and his life. Was his dad one of the lost souls? One of the souls that dives too deep into pleasure and gets lost? Because Dad wasn't holding up his end of the bargain in this partnership. It's almost a little bit of resentment from Mama, right? And Joe says, this isn't about my career. It's my reason for living. And Dad felt the same way. If I die today, then my life amounted to nothing. Baby, that's not true. That is not true. Because even though you want to be on stage and have your name on the marquee and you want Dorothea singing behind you and you want to be in the spotlight with all of the applause, you affected one person. You affected two people. You affected Curly, who's putting you onto an opportunity because you led him down the path that his life is now. And you affected Connie, who without even talking to you, chose not to quit music that you're teaching her the effect. That's not true. And mama goes ahead, gets Joe a whole new suit, step into the man you're supposed to be, step into the passion, speak from your soul, and hands it right over. Mom joins the journey and helps Joe. Okay, we're getting a little more complicated now. Put on your thinking hats. We're getting a little more complicated now. Here we go. We're going to introduce a third color. We call that a misdirect. I'm going to introduce a third color right here, right now. And I want to jump into the chat here on YouTube for my audience to dissect. Half note has 3 colors. We've only been speaking about 2 up until this point. Red, blue, and yellow. What do we think yellow means? Thank you for joining me here, ladies, on Clubhouse. I implore you to join me over here on YouTube so you can access the live chat and get the visuals. But either way is fine. If you guys just want to sit and listen into the audible experience, you are more than welcome. Right now, Joe Gardner is getting ready to do his sound check, meet Moonwind so they can switch bodies, get this big old dream. But we are talking about the 3 colors on half note sign: red, blue, and yellow. What do we think the meaning of yellow is, right? Because we got that soul blue, we got that imposed narrative ass red, that wound red. All right, answers are coming in. Kadia says yellow is hope. Candace says yellow is joy. CJ agrees that it's hope. Mika's wisdom says invigoration. Invigoration. Tisha, the providers. What you providing, Tisha? Zay, I want some. Just joined, but I knew it. I knew it. Told my sister we need to watch this on a deeper level. Sure does. Elle says yellow is salvation. Kesh, optimism, opportunity. Ash, potatoes. It's the position of the sun. That's very true. That is true. Here's my take. Again, I am not the voice of God. I am not the end all be all. We are here to think and discuss together and throw all of our opinions into the pot. Let's have fun drawing out some themes and meanings from this very incredible Black animated film. Let's all do it together. Here's what I suspect. Yellow is the balance. It's the perfect place between the physical, the purpose, and the presence, right? It's that space right in between, from running from the past, chasing your future. It's that moment where you're just existing, you and your soul. And that leaf just fluttered by, fell into 22's hand. And that was just a magical moment for her to sit down and just really love being here. Yellow. And I noticed when they first landed into these incorrect bodies back at the hospital, start of Act 2, the doctor was in yellow. And I was like, why would she be in yellow? Why would a doctor be in yellow? Well, what does a doctor do? They save your life. It's literally her job to facilitate merging the soul and the body. Her job is literally to be concerned with being present, because what's happening to you right now, we need you alive. It's my job to keep you alive, bringing you right here presently, right? So we have this moment where 22 is being absolutely present, enjoying, thoroughly existing, leaf in the hand. And she says, I'm really good at walking and I'm really good at sky watching. I love that. And Joe's like, those ain't purposes, sis. Those are just plain old living. What are you talking about? What did you own? Think about the amount of miracle it takes for us to even be here on YouTube, on Clubhouse. having this moment existing together, all of the molecules, the science, the perfect stars in alignment, the conception, all of these things have to work together just for us to have this experience. And sometimes we get so locked up in the things we want to achieve and who we think we not, and all of these fears we have, we forgot that we're alive. The 1 in a million chance that we're alive, floating on a planet, speeding through time and space in a universe, in a neighborhood of galaxies. And right as I said that, my angel number popped up on the dashboard of YouTube. I have 1111 playbacks. I love it. Talk to me, ancestors. Talk to me, ancestors. Thank y'all. Oh shit, Ray said I'm Tyrese. That is so funny. Elle says we waste so much time chasing the vision of life we created that we forget to enjoy the everyday moments. Whew. Goddamn, Terry catches them both, brings them back. 22 discovers that she has earned her Earth pass, but she don't want it. 22 gives Joe her Earth patch, and he heads back to his body. 22 goes off into one of these dimensions. I don't know. And they're back in the great before. We see 22 pass this wall of mentors, all these name tags that have failed before Joe, right? And we see all this red. Well, now we know where the wound is. I have no spark. I have no purpose. And the proof is there on the wall. Look at all these people that tried to help you, 22, and you still here. All this wound, right? This big wound we have found for 22. Low key, Joe's back in his body. The cat is here again. The cat should be dead. Tell me if the math ain't mathing. The cat should be dead. It ain't got Joe's body, and it really did die on his lap. How the hell is it alive? That's neither here nor there. It don't matter. Joe is back in blue, operating from the spark, just like his daddy, stunned like his daddy, and we come across our 3 colors again. When Joe is back for his dream gig, he made it. He's playing on stage. It's the moment he's been waiting for his entire life. From blue, the zone, to red, the imposed narrative, the imposed value he put on his soul's calling versus being present and existing. Down when they sweating, wrapping up that set, working hard under them lights, giving them the show, being in the moment. And it ain't hitting right. This shit ain't hitting right still. The moment he's been waiting this entire time arrives and he feels nothing. Dorothea tells him a short story. We call this a parable in the Bible. Jesus was annoying as hell, and let me tell you why. Because you be asking Jesus a simple question, and he want to tell you a story about what happened in Jehoshaphat. Is it a yes or no, Jesus? Is your middle name David or not? There was once a man. Never mind, Jesus. Never mind. I'm going to go pray about it. Never mind. I don't want to talk to you no more. Bye. Dorothea asks, or says to Joe, he's like, this ain't hitting right. A young fish goes to an older fish, and he asks, where is the ocean? This is the ocean. Joe's been chasing this false narrative, this fake value over his life, and he needs to deepen that. And what a lot of creatives have heard, and I'll share with you tonight, usually when people ask you, why do you want to do what you do? You need to come up with a reason that's so steadfast in your journey that you always remember it and you can keep going, because the fame is not always going to be there. The money's not always going to be there. The audience is not always going to be there. Them deals are not always going to be there. And if that's what your entire value is stringent upon, you ain't going to last long. Your why. When your passion meets your purpose, and he's missing that. Why are you here? Who is you, Chiron? Why are you here? Him playing music is surface level stuff. He wanted it for superficial reasons. This is exactly why Dez, the barber who we need to find his Instagram, could be happy working the wrong job, while Joe could be unhappy working the perfect job. So this is why the half note has 3 colors, because your perspective is going to dictate your experience here. Are you going to operate from your soul? Are you going to be this false superstar thingy of value narrative that you made up? Or are you going to be present and happy to be here? You want the ocean when you're in the water. This is it. I don't know what else to tell you. You're in the water. You want the ocean. We're here. This is it. You thought it was going to be this big thing, but this is it. And this is why it's so unsatisfying, because your foundation wasn't strong enough to begin with. Well, let's lean in, because Joe has more lessons to learn, right? Which perspective will he choose? The red, the blue, the yellow? Joe looks at these items at 22 is collected while she had that moment in his body. And he begins to play jazz, looking at these items as if they're the notes on the board from that opening shot. And they're lined up on this piano, just like the notes were lined up on that chalkboard behind him when we started this movie. And I was wondering, I was like, why is there only notes on that top bar? Ain't nothing else down? Because they were preparing for this visual right here. And this is the moment he learned to speak through music, the way that he saw when he was a child watching that dude play on stage, who started to speak to him, right, through jazz. This is where he starts to do that thing. And here's the gag, because we're going to bring it back from the lessons that we started earlier. The gag is he can access this magic no matter where he is, just like Moonwind, just like Dez. They cool wherever they at. And he gets into his zone, and he can get there in any place of any value. And we can ask ourselves, what terms have we been putting on to our passions? What's blocking us from getting into our zones? Well, if I don't do it that way, then it sucks. That ain't true. That ain't true. Sherelle said, find Dez's IG. I'm on it. I am on it. Hello, everyone in Clubhouse. I encourage you to join me on YouTube. I am live streaming on YouTube, where you can access a live chat on the JustLatasha channel, accompanied with the story visuals of Soul. But you're more than welcome to stay here and enjoy the Audible experience as well. Whatever floats your boat. You got 2 options. But I got a hell of people here on YouTube, so I'm probably going to open the stage after this. Well, probably. As Joe gets into the zone, a montage of his life plays, and what color emerges? Tons of yellow, right? Especially when you're a child, you really ain't got that much problem. So more times than not, you're very present in what's happening. You're very happy to be there because you ain't got nowhere else to be. And as you get older and you get more responsibilities and have more expectations and get more stressed and get more anxious and learn the world and get a little bumps and bruises, you start to be less present. That yellow starts to dissipate, right? But something happened to Connie that we cannot miss. Because she's present, she's operating from her zone, she's got her soul tapped in, but she almost quit. And when we see her, the colors are very muted. She's about to lose it. And she needs to be saved sooner than later, Joe. We did it, Joe. we need to save Connie sooner than later. Because she's on her way out. The colors are so muted and dull around Connie right now. She is on a lifeline. And that happens with children. They have such wonder in their eyes when they first start school and meet friends and learn new things. And then at a certain point, it all goes out the window. We saw how uninterested so many of those students were in Joe's class at the top of this movie. What happened to the kids? What happened to the kids? Okay. So he finds it. Joe finds the present and he can call upon his soul. He can get into that zone on command, and he uses that zone to ride and find 22, who's lost because she has no purpose and she was taken from a body. Technically, she lived. So now she's a lost soul. Heading into our climax, beating this monster that 22 has become, and Joe discovers that 22 has internalized everybody else's projections. She took on Joe's fears and misunderstandings of life. She took his stuff on. Like that hater down at the barbershop. What if Joe would have carried on that man's narrative? Well, damn, he said I sucked in the barbershop, so maybe I do suck. And then that just lives in you, that you just have that now? That thing yelling at you internally all the time? Joe took on his mother's projection. He made her fears his narrative. Well, that's it. My mom thinks I'm a failure. And she didn't even think that. She was just scared because what happened to the dad and the husband. So that wasn't even true. This thing that he was keeping, well, my mother thinks I'm a failure, wasn't even true. And he's living his life by that narrative. That's crazy. And all this time she was actually proud of him. So 22 is in here chanting, repeating this to herself. I'm not good enough. I never got my spark. And Joe says, your spark isn't your purpose. It happens when you're ready to come live, existing, being present, being joyful in the moment, right here, right now, not tied to because you have a spark and because you like something, now you got to do something. It's not always about doing something, right? And all of us right here, right now, are trying to do that. I love this thing, so now I have to do it and monetize it and brand it and share it and sell it. And it becomes this whole fucking capitalistic fucking mess. And that was 22's problem, why she never got her earth patch. She kept trying to add something to do as her spark, and that wasn't the answer. We're essentially trying to replace our willingness to live with something to do or a job. Human beings. Ash Potato said, who cried? I'm gonna show you where I cried right now. We're getting into Act 3, the solve. Joe and 22 learn that existing is perfectly normal spark and purpose. I cried right here. When 22 got the earth patch and was zoomed down to whatever body she was at, and they separated hands, bitch. Oh, that took me down. That took me, I bawled like a baby twice. Okay, when I first watched it and I watched it to dissect it, I cried at the same part. I was like, oh my God. I don't know. It's something about the separation between like the guardian and the baby. I don't know. I also cried at Black is King, Find Your Way Back, when daddy leaves her. You just leave the baby out and they got to find their way home. I don't know why that story type gets me like that, but it do. I cried right here. And then story ends. Joe gets a second chance and he's going to live every minute of life. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was a dissection of Disney Pixar's Soul. I'm your host, JustLatasha. Please follow me on social media. JustLatasha on Instagram. JustLatasha404 on Twitter. I almost forgot my damn name. And I'm currently on Clubhouse. I don't know if you guys are on Clubhouse. If you want to come to a little mini chat after party, little get on stage and let's talk about it together. Let's get on Clubhouse. I'm still streaming. Subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up. Leave comments. Thank you everyone tonight who gave me a super chat. Thank you everyone who joined in this live YouTube stream. 90 people in the room. We love to see it. 1,300 people in total stopped by. We love to see it. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat before we head out over to Clubhouse. Elle says, I wept. Stephanie says, substituting doing for being. Yes, we are not human doings at all. Mara's still crying. Thank you, Asia. What's up, Antaeus? These cartoons are getting deeper and deeper. Katava, what's up? Thank y'all for being here. I see you all. Love you guys. If you're on Clubhouse, come on over. And I'll see y'all later on YouTube. Clubhouse, stay on. Bye. Wow. What a day.